welcome to Talking with Famous People. I'm here with host Eric and Lorenz, and we are discussing FI, based on, so Patrick met us up last night. We were talking about FI, and, Patrick met us up alluded to the idea that if ENTPs or INTPs are expressing emotion alone, so if they're alone and they're crying, that's still FE because the feeling is extroverted. It's outward as opposed to inward. And Eric
I
disagrees.
I disagree with that.
I
And
think I
my
disagree with that as well.
and my assessment on it is that extroverted feeling is operating from the assumption that your feelings are going to be fine as long as everybody else is happy. You don't need to really think about your own feelings. As long as everybody else is happy, your feelings should be fine because nobody's mad at you or upset or whatever. It's a sense that it's dealing with your own emotions via the external world rather than the internal world. However, you still experience internal feelings. It's just not you operate on the assumption that you ought not have to worry about that when you're worried about other people's feelings. It's sort of like you got to operate from one assumption or the other. But I'm figuring that in fact I do have a lot of internal feelings, and it's just a matter of I need to attend to them more, and I'd be more aware of them, rather than coming across them as arguments and then going like, oh, that's what I feel. It's crazy how often that happens to me.
Where you come across them in arguments?
As arguments in my head, like arguments that I might make, right? So I'm going down the line about arguments why I might be, because I'm mad at that point, right? I'm mad at Delilah. I'm thinking, you're not being fair, and here are arguments I might make. And way down the list of arguments I might make comes into my head, you hurt my feelings. And I go, oh, that's what happened. You hurt my feelings.
See, I see it like, okay, in that one video, I was talking about how I engage my FI by watching movies. And it kind of slips the emotional dagger in me. I don't realize what's happening. But I think that's more of an FE thing, right? That's an FE thing because, for me, I am experiencing emotions through the lens of other people, right? So you watch movies, and I am getting into these emotional scenes, and the reason I become emotional is because I am flowing through the interactions, or I am flowing through the emotions of the people depicted in the scenes, right? So in that case, I think that's FE. But I can see what their point is, saying that
I don't think so. I still don't think that's that deep.
I see Eric's point of view because, like in your movie situation, you're picking up feelings from external sources, and then with FI, you have your internalized emotions, and they just so happen to have an external outcome.
What do you mean?
I think you're internally echoing the external emotions that others are displaying. So you're identifying with them. You're empathizing. Like, I know that feeling. In fact, I'm feeling it sympathetically, so to speak, or empathetically, along with you. But
Yeah, but
it's
I
still
don't
your
experience.
feeling. It's still internal. The external thing is all about shit like making sure the other person. Like Abraham never chooses the restaurant. Never, ever, ever. No matter how much I tell him I want him to choose the restaurant. The other thing he does is he always orders the same thing as me as the restaurant. Why? Well, because then he's confident that he's not ordering something that's too expensive, and that he's not ordering something that I'm going to think he shouldn't order or whatever. It's weird, but it's
That's a
FE in the
good
dominant slot.
rule to follow. I should do that more often.
It's FE in the dominant slot is what it is. He's constantly attending to what I want, what I expect, my emotional state is. Occasionally, if I'm too like salty, as the kids say, or the kids use that term for me. If I'm too salty, then he'll bust my chops, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, I can agree with that rule to an extent. I mean, if I go to a Mexican restaurant, I'm getting shrimp fajitas regardless of the individual next to me, right? But
But you have FE in the fourth slot.
yeah. See, I mean, that's in certain circumstances. I mean, when you got to give up a shrimp fajita for the FE, I mean, that's when it becomes no longer worth it. You know what I mean? But I mean,
Because yeah,
isn't
I probably go
FI
back and forth. You know?
isn't FI primarily interested with how? I mean, I don't with the whole like extroverted feeling thing. Why do I only experience that when I'm alone and watching movies, right? Like I I don't get that from other people. If other people tell me a story that's like super emotional about their personal
They're not a
experience.
good enough storyteller. Then they're not a good enough storyteller. If they were a better storyteller, you'd be emotional about it. Because look, you're resonating with your internal feelings that you don't experience a lot in your day-to-day existence, but you're not adversarial with them. You're like me and SE. I don't I don't have a problem with exercise. Like, look, I'm the opposite of somebody who displays the fact that they need exercise even though they're not getting it. I'm not overweight. I don't have health problems. I'm not a couch potato or whatever, but I never do any physical SE stuff. I think this is as SE as it gets, and it hurts my hand to paint. You know, I'm like, eh. But I don't hate SE. I don't have any problem with it. I think it's cool. You know, if you're good at that stuff, I like watching sports sometimes. You know, but it's different with FI. I struggle with it a lot more than I do with SE. Even though I'm clumsy as hell, I managed to have a good working relationship with SE. We get our shit done one way or the other, even if I do stub my toe or whatever in the process, you know?
See, the problem I have with Patrick and Metasoap's depiction of crying being FE because it's extroverted feeling, that means that anyone who cries is going to be experiencing FE. So why, like, I just don't understand how, like, to me,
Yeah, it's
whether or not
nonsense. It's nonsense.
you're experiencing, it's not about whether or not you're experiencing emotions. It's about the quintessence of the emotions, right? So if you're experiencing emotions through the lens of others, if you're deterring to others, or if you're experiencing emotions within you. I think that's regardless of whether or not you're crying or you're manifesting some sort of
Right.
emotional abrasiveness, right?
I think the best way to put it is, what are you assuming? Are you assuming that... God damn it, Compton. Somebody just threw up over there. Just what I needed. This is another green one? These things are all this lime green color. Anyway, uh, yeah, I think it's about the assumption, right? Do you assume that your own emotions will take care of themselves or everybody else's if you got everybody else accounted for? Or do you assume that if your own emotions are good, then everybody else must be accounted for? And if it's the latter, you're an FI person. If it's the former, you're an FE person. I think that may be the best way to put it in my mind.
Have you ever let your FE run you and like when you don't mean it? Like your FE it makes you tell someone like, no, it's not personal when it like totally is personal, and you lost like a lot of respect for someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
You don't want to hurt their
probably
feelings, but
yes.
at the same time, you kind of do.
Right. Probably less so now than I used to. Are you trying to tell me something, Zach, or what?
No, I experience that sometimes with people. Mostly like if I get in arguments on comment sections, I'll always like how you said like I end it with like, I mean, no hard feelings. Like it's just like an ideological difference, and then it'll be like on the inside though, like there's totally some significance there, you know.
Right.
But like the other night I was talking with Faith, and I was saying something, and I was like, "You don't care about any of this, do you?" And she was like, "No, I care." And I was like, "I mean, it's okay if you don't care." And she's like, "No, it's not." And I was just like, "Ah, you're right."
No, it's not. That's funny. I'm gonna have to go lime green here, guys. I wasn't intending to go lime green. I got a gallon of white, but I've got 4 of these little lime green testers. So I guess I'm going lime green. It's just one more coat anyway. Probably need another coat after that.
What does
So
painting say about your FI?
Um, Nothing. This is my SI kicking into high gear this week. I have gotten a lot of shit accomplished this week as far as the SI goes, which is always nice, to
Right.
kill multiple birds there that are particularly squawky. SI birds are squawky. You got to kill them at some point.
Bird Holocaust. Alright, well, let's wrap up the F5 video and we'll see what Metasoap and Mega Bro and Patrick's comments are about it.
All right, cool. You could title it something like